Good morning. Welcome to another shop-worn version of Diatribes from the voice of Doom. Now here's your somber and somnambulant host, voice of Doom. Hello. It's early in the morning. I thought I'd do an early morning diatribe this 8th of November, 2022. It's election day. And when I say early in the morning, it is 2:43. I've been not sleeping well today because I slept all day yesterday because of this ridiculous daylight savings time and the fact that my sleep patterns have been weird for the last 2 years now. I thought they got rid of daylight savings time, and I was saying that it was over, and sure enough, we set the clocks back. And I realized that the Senate had voted against daylight savings, but the House of Reps decided to not take that up as an issue. So we continue with that. Now I have a theory that this changing of the clocks was a small experiment which started years ago and has led up to what we have now. Now the experiment was, can we continue doing something that everyone in America hates and get away with it? The answer is yes. I've never met one person, I don't care if they're a farmer or what the hell they do for a living, not one person that likes daylight savings time. I mean, I don't mind saving daylight, just don't keep changing the clocks back twice a year. It's annoying. And nobody in America likes it, and they keep it going. So they realize, yes, we can do whatever we want. It does not matter what the masses want. It matters that we can get away with anything we want to, and they have been. Now we continue with 2020 and the shutdown, and it continued with the mandates, and it continues to this day and gets worse and worse. Now, it's election day. I was looking forward to it. I was going to go and vote early in the morning, and I still am. I didn't want to mail in my ballot. I didn't want to vote early because I do not trust the electoral system one little bit. Let me tell you that right now. And it's part of the things that people really aren't allowed to say, and as I browse through YouTube installments, especially of people that don't have a big following, but they are very steadfast in in putting forward putting forward content. And I noticed that a lot of times they catch themselves because they can't say certain things on social media. They can't say things about the serum. In the old days, back in 21, they could not talk about having an opinion on whether people should wear masks or gather together. And now they can't say anything about election denying. They cannot say there were any doubts in the 2020 election. That's against the law. You will be jailed for that. So they catch themselves on YouTube and say, well, I can't say that. Okay, we can't talk about election denying. Well, we will hear about election denying in about 48 hours, won't we? And it will not be considered insurrectory. It will not be considered traitorous to deny the results of the election if the Goppers win. It will be considered a badge of honor. It will be considered the utmost highest form of free speech, sacrosanct to all Americans. All of a sudden, election denying will become de rigueur. You watch what happens, unless the Dems win, in which case things go on as usual. Now, the Dems could win because they cheat. They cheat with impunity, and if you say they cheat, you will be banned. So I'm of mixed feelings about this election because I just know there's going to be cheating everywhere. And I know there's going to be results that are going to be shocking. There's going to be people with brain damage being elected to high office. There's going to be people that want us to subsist on 10 for $10 cans of macaroni and cheese for the next coming few years because of high inflation. And they will be reelected also. There will be many incumbents who have been lying their asses off with impunity for 6 years now, a la Joe McCarthy. I have in my hand the proof that Orangey is a traitor. We won't name names, but he looks like a lizard. And he will be reelected. And just watching the polls makes me lose faith in anything like what used to be the United States and the integrity of the U.S. populace, because there's no reason in all that any D should get any vote anywhere. There should not be 47% to 48% in these polls. It should be 0% to 99%. There should not be one Dem in office anywhere in this country. They're all cheaters, they're all liars. And they're all out for our destruction. They are doing their best. Now, Petri Dish has made it clear that he has stopped drilling in America. And it's about time, because I was sick of seeing those oil derricks pumping all the time. It was very unsightly in California. You go to a park and there's an oil derrick, and it's annoying. So I'm glad that Petri has shut down all drilling. Now I would imagine that gas will go higher and higher until we run out. And that will cause worldwide shutdown, but that's beside the point. I've heard the first half-white president talking here and there and railing about how democracy is at stake if we vote the wrong way. If us insurrectionists actually prevail in this sham of an election, then democracy is over. That's it. We're done. Then it will be fine to have riots in the street again with impunity. Looting will begin in earnest again, as if it stopped. Anarchy and crime will rise, and the border will be overrun more than it already has. And from what I'm seeing here and there and everywhere, the border situation is way worse than anybody even can possibly imagine. So anything could happen at any time. Now, saw another thing on Santa Fe brought to my attention that they built a wall, a 10-foot wall around the Federal Reserve, and they did it in like a day. And people are wondering why. But it just goes to show you, if you want to build a wall and you want to do it fast, we're capable of doing it. Now, a 10-foot wall around the Federal Reserve built overnight. What does that mean? You tell me. I have my theories, but many people are thinking about taking whatever liquid assets they have out of institutions, which means a run on the banks. And that'll cause more problems, and I'm going to kick myself because I just paid my stupid ass mortgage. And I'm going to realize that I just gave away pretty much everything in my bank account to stay living in my house for another month. And I could have used it for canned goods, Chef Boyardee. So I'm going to feel really bad about that. But on the bright side, I will no longer be paying bills in the near future, like December, because there will be no need to pay bills because the entire economic structure of what used to be the United States will have been destroyed. There's no sense in sending checks off to companies that are no longer there, with a mail system that is no longer there. So we can rest easy on that. Now, I didn't have a whole lot to say, but I wanted to say things about what you can't talk about. And I was at work and we talk politics, and most people are Republicans that I talk to, so we don't get into arguments often, but I realized there's one more thing that you cannot say, and it has made me come to the conclusion that I will never talk politics with anyone again, except on this channel. And this may come to an end soon too, because I'm getting tired of everybody jumping on my doomsday bandwagon. I've been talking about the end of Western civilization for years. Everybody scoffed at me and laughed. Say, oh, you're such a grouchy, gloomy Gus. And I'm like, no, society really is going to crumble. And they're laughing at me. Now, they're not laughing anymore. No one's laughing at me anymore. But now they're jumping on my shtick. And they're all talking about doomsday, so I may not even do this much longer. But as far as talking, you can talk to goppers and be in agreement that everything's a mess. But that self-same gopper will say, Orangey was an idiot. Orangey didn't know what he was doing. Orangey said whatever he wanted to say. That's the dog. We have dog problems now on top of everything else. But the one thing you cannot say is you cannot question a person with asking about specifics when they make a blanket statement. That's no longer allowed. So I don't say anything anymore. I'm never going to say another thing. If Orangey wants to run in 24, there will not be an election anyway, let him run. Let him win. Let everything go to hell again as far as all the wokesters going out to the street and tearing everything down. Let it happen. I want it to happen, but a person who I agree with said he thought that Orangey was an idiot. And I said, well, tell me one thing that he was an idiot about. And the guy started to get a little miffed. And so he started mentioning things like, well, what about the bleach and what about this and that? And I'm kind of trying to explain how things can be taken out of context, and if you don't really look at the detail, then you might believe that, Orangey said, yeah, inject yourself with bleach, which is absurd. But everybody has their anecdote. Everybody has their example. Oh, his real estate dealings were shady. And it's like, well, specifically, what are you talking about? Well, everybody knows he was shady. All right, these are goppers. So I'm sick of talking about Orangey. Let him do what he wants. He's going to live forever. So he'll probably be running for president for the next, 50 years. But I'm tired of arguing about it. I'm tired of all the idiocy. And I want to see utter rampant destruction, and it is coming. You don't put a 10-foot wall around the Federal Reserve unless you expect something bad to happen and people to get angry. And I'm going to go vote. And I'm going to vote GOP down the line because I have no other choice. I've never considered myself a staunch Republican, but I have no choice. I would vote Libertarian if it was some innocuous election that nobody cared about. But this is important. And if the D's prevail, which no one says they will, but if they do, then no one will be able to question anything. Another pristine election, another immaculate conception. So I'm just doing a early morning diatribe because I have nothing better to do and I can't sleep. And I'll probably do one after I vote and try to be more coherent, because although I can't sleep, I am tired. So it's a depressing one, and I'm glad it was depressing. Everybody should be depressed right now. And we'll see what happens over the next 48 hours. It's going to be very interesting to see everybody turn turtle. And suddenly, something you could never talk about, everybody will be talking about when the coppers win. Every headline will be voter fraud. That'll be that. Okay, I'm going to leave you now and try to sleep a bit. Good night or morning, whatever it is.